In this video, you are going to learn how to work the single crochet stitch. In our last video, we learned how to make a foundation row out of chain stitches. For this lesson, you will need a foundation row that is 10 chain stitches long, plus 1 turning chain. In other words, you will need 11 chain stitches, but keep in mind that the loop on your hook does not count as a stitch. A crochet pattern would normally be written out like this, but we'll cover pattern reading in a future video. For now, let's look at our foundation chain. You will be working your first single crochet into the second chain from the hook. Remember, the loop on the hook does not count as a chain. Insert your hook into the next to last chain stitch in your foundation row, and wrap your working yarn over the hook towards your body. Gently twist your hook to catch the yarn and pull it through the chain. Now you should have 2 loops on your hook. Wrap the yarn over the hook again towards yourself, and this time pull it through both of the loops on your hook. That's the single crochet stitch. It may seem like a lot of steps, but once your hands get used to the repetition, it will feel more natural. Knowing where to insert your hook can be confusing for beginners, which is why it helps to use a large hook and thick yarn to learn these basic skills. Once again, insert your hook into the next chain stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over again, and pull the yarn through both loops on the hook. Just like your foundation row, the stitches in the first row should be fairly loose and not pulled too tight. From the top, you can count how many stitches you have worked so far by counting the V's. Remember, the loop around the hook does not count as a stitch. When you get to the very last stitch in your row, you will work another single crochet like before, and you may need to pull the tail end of your yarn to tighten the chain stitch. Now we will need to turn at the end of our row by working a chain stitch. Chain 1, and flip your work around to the opposite side. Once again, we will be working into the second stitch from the hook. Skipping the turning chain stitch, insert your hook into the first single crochet stitch, making sure it slides under both of the loops on top. Yarn over and use your hook to pull the yarn through the stitch. Now there are 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over again and pull your yarn through both of those loops. Other than chaining 1 and turning at the end of your rows, this is how you will always work the single crochet stitch on either side of the fabric. As you go back and forth, you may find that you are inadvertently adding or skipping stitches without meaning to, which is why it will help to count to 10 on every row. I avoid counting stitches and doing math whenever I can, but it does help when you're learning the basic stitches. Developing the hand-eye coordination to crochet is an exercise in patience, so now would be a great time to listen to an audiobook or your favorite album while you practice. I've been listening to Masquerade by Terry Pratchett and Emotion Side B by Carly Rae Jepsen. What have you been listening to lately? Like writing a literary masterpiece or becoming a pop icon, learning to crochet takes time, effort, and love. So give yourself the gift of patience and just enjoy the thrilling process of learning a new skill. As you're working your rows of single crochet, you may find that your fabric starts to curl in on itself. This is totally normal and can be fixed by steaming or ironing your work, but that's a topic for another video. You could keep going back and forth like this and make a scarf or even a blanket. But for now, I am just going to work 11 rows of 10 single crochet stitches to make a small square, which I'll be using to wash dishes. By the way, I am not counting my foundation chain as a row. Cut your working yarn and work a final chain stitch, pulling the tail all the way through to create a knot so that your work doesn't unravel. There are fancier ways to weave in the loose ends of your yarn, but for now I'm just going to use the hook to pull the tail end of the yarn in and out of the stitches along the edge. Here you can see I'm tying a knot and finally trimming the tail ends of my yarn. There you have it, the single crochet stitch. Add some googly eyes and you've got yourself a new friend. Thank you so much for watching today. Please feel free to subscribe for more lessons and tutorials and let me know what you'd like to learn next. Have a fantastic day and I will see you next time.